Hey guys, what's going on? Twitch here, bringing you another video. This one is going to be specifically around kind of like my off-season plan to improve my body composition to perform better at a HYROX, a DEKAFIT, at any of these hybrid races. It's going to need a little bit more of a strength and therefore mass to compete at the highest level. So what I'm going to do in this video is show you the exact aerobic workouts that I'm going to do to maintain my endurance as I get bigger, what strength workouts I'm going to do to facilitate that strength and muscle gain. And most importantly, what I'm going to show you is the nutrition side of things. And really what my plan is going to be around that to make sure that I'm eating enough to foster that muscle growth, because ultimately to get bigger, to get stronger, it's a nutrition equation. So that's going to be the crux of this video. So before we get into it, hit me with a subscribe, and that's it. Let's do it. All right, so taking a look at the plan as a whole, this is my Training Peaks account. So this just kind of looks at everything and what I'm going to be doing in order to improve. So this is kind of like my home base, but really where I want to start is with the nutrition side of things. So we'll go through all of the aerobic work and the strength work, so don't go anywhere for that. Make sure you stick around. But first, we're going to talk about nutrition because that's the main thing. So this is a nutrition calculator that I created for endurance athletes to make sure that we are meeting our nutritional needs. Most of the time, the calculators are available to the public or for bodybuilders or people who are looking for fat loss, and they don't really meet up with the needs of the athletes themselves. So the endurance athletes themselves, because we expend a lot of energy, and especially in this OCR space, in this hybrid racing space where it's important to keep muscle or even build muscle in this case, the other calculators, they don't really cut it. So I had to create this from scratch. So I'm going to show you exactly how this all works. So really what we need to do is predict how much muscle that we're going to put on without getting too fat. That's the name of the game. So it's super easy. Just eat a ton and eat a bunch of bad food. I don't really want to do that. I don't want to put on too much fat along in this process. But with that, it's important to note that there is going to be fat gain that comes along with muscle gain. It's just a hypocaloric environment is just easier to add muscle, and putting you there, it's going to come along with fat. So it's really hard to just gain only muscle, and it would be much, much slower. So for the sake of this, I'm willing to accept that there's going to be some fat gain to improve the muscle gain and make that get done a little bit quicker. Because if I was just trying to put on muscle, it'll take forever. And really, I needed to put on about 10 to 15 pounds. And this plan is based around 10 pounds. And that would just take so long. It would just be incremental at a time. And I would like to put on 10 pounds before the start of next season, like the 2022 season. And if I didn't want to add fat, I really wouldn't be able to get there. So this is what this is going to look like. So this is where I'm going to chart all of my weight gain process. So charting it out every day and going at the 10-day average is going to be really what's going to tell the story here, because there's going to be pretty big fluctuations each and every day. So I also have a goal weight where I would like to be, and then a high end of where I know that it's going to be too much. And I'm going to track that about every 7 days. So that's what these numbers are here. So where I get these numbers, like a sustainable place to add weight in terms of body composition is about 0.25 pounds per your current body weight. So it's not very much. It ends up being about a half a pound, and about 0.5 is the 0.5% of your body weight is at the high end. So if you start getting above that 0.75, 1.1, like that ends up being too much, and you're probably going to end up being a little bit more fat than you'd want to be. So I'm going to try to stick it within this range here. So this number is actually 0.35% of my current body weight, and that's going to be a sustainable growth here. So that's what I want to do each and every day, each and every week, to kind of check my progress. So you can see that's what the incremental gains are going to be. And this is based off of my starting number, which was 171.29. And that's the average off of 10 days. And then each time it's going to kind of change. So you can see the weight gain is accelerated this first 2 weeks or so. A lot of that's going to be water weight, while a lot of that's going to be kind of like bloat. I'm eating a lot more, and I'll show you exactly what those numbers look like and exactly how much I'm eating just after we get through this part here. So after it gets through, so you can see it's going to be this incremental progress for about I think 16 weeks or so. As it keeps going down, I have it charted until October, mid to late October. So this would kind of put me in line with where that Madison race would be for HYROX, which would be right around here. So if I could be 180 at this point, I'd be a little bit fatter than I'd probably want to be, but it would be hold on to some muscle for sure. And the aerobic piece and the running piece is going to be really important to make sure I'm holding on to the endurance gains that I'm going to need, which will also give you a glimpse of what that looks like here. So this is just a way to kind of chart out what that progress looks like. I mean, I could probably get to 180 in like a month with the way I can eat and just with how much trash you can put in your body. But I don't want to do that. I'd really rather take my time and make this sustainable and just be in it for the long haul. With that, it's going to take some patience and it's going to take a lot of planning around the food preparation itself because it's a lot of freaking food. So let me show you what that looks like. So on this sheet here, and I'll also give you, so if this is something that is interesting, this sheet, like that I mentioned before, I have a link for you in the notes below. You can just click on that. I'll send it directly to your inbox. So if that's interesting to you, go ahead and grab that, and you can just punch it in each and every day so you know exactly how much to eat. So what this looks like is once you punch in your miles of running, biking, or strength training, it's going to spit out the exact number of macronutrients that you should be doing for each of those days. So in this case, so let's say on a day where I'm going to be doing 6 miles of running, 15 miles of biking, and an hour of strength training. So this would be a big day, right? This would be, I don't know, 2.5 hours of total training. And in terms of muscle gain, I would then know, if I come over to this chart over here, I would need to eat about 4,200 calories to put myself in a big enough surplus that I'm going to be able to foster some muscle gain. And that's based off of all these numbers here, my height, my weight, and my activity level. Because if you switch this activity level, it'll change the caloric demands because this is something that would be more like non-exercise related, which also burns quite a bit of calories. So for the protein numbers, research has shown that about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight will help with that muscle protein synthesis. And it really kind of levels off up until about 1.5. So I kind of put it right in the middle because I want to see what that's like when I push it up a little bit higher. So 224 grams per day is pretty much what I'm going to be aiming for every single day, which is quite a bit. So that's going to be a chore on its own. And it's going to be important that I kind of stick to this, the meal timing, because in terms of protein consumption, there is only about a certain amount you can get in per hour per day to make sure you're facilitating that muscle protein synthesis. So that's where I really want this timing to be crucial for that. So getting in about 36 grams of protein per meal makes it much more easy to stomach, literally stomach. So the carbohydrates are going to be very high, 644, and the fats are going to kind of remain stable depending on what my day looks like. So this is kind of that low end work, that walking, running type of walking or running really slow type of work, and the carbohydrates are just really going to be there to kind of fill everything in. So this is what it's going to look like every single day, kind of getting up to these levels, and it's going to take a lot of planning and a lot of eating, a lot of time to make this happen. So again, this is the crux. After I get done with my workout's not complete. The eating is the actual workout. This is where it's all going to happen. Like the workouts, the strength and everything is going to help send those signals to grow muscle in specific areas where I need that and where I'm working, but it won't grow at nearly the rate that I would like it to grow if I'm not eating. So this is really, really important. This is going to be the whole thing. And if I fail to do this, this is why. But I have a good plan. I have a good system here. I have a good appetite. So I have no problem of getting this all in. So again, if this is something that's interesting to you and you want to kind of take a look at this, grab it with the link in the below in the captions, and I'll send this right to your inbox. So now for the workouts themselves. So with muscle gain, we think about strength a lot. So that's where we're starting. So I only write out these workouts about a week or two at a time. So this is my second week of doing this super squats program. And what that's going to look like, we'll start here, is going to be a standard hypertrophy workout where it's going to be a lot of that rep range between 8 to 15, working at a higher reps. So I have my standard warm up, some movement prep, some power press, some dead bugs, and then we're just going to get into it. 3x10 shoulder press, 3x12 bench press. So for me, these are not strong lifts, so I do need to work on these. So I think I have my results right over here. Yeah, so shoulder press was about 100 to 105, which was up for a set of 10. Bench press is 160 for a set of 12, which I'm fine with. And then the barbell row, 2x15 at 155, and then some curls. And on the other days, I'm going to do some tricep extension. So I'm looking over here on the left side here. And then the crux of this whole program is the back squat. It's a 1x20 rep back squat, and it's a heavy one, so it should be something where you're gonna feel like it's something you could do for like 10, and then you just want to stand with it and hang with it for the set of 20. And it's pretty brutal. It's a long set and it is a hard set, but it is going to pay off. And this is just like a classic hypertrophy program called Super Squats, which was developed in like the 80s. It's super old school, but it's meant to put on some muscle with these big compound lifts, and it's exactly what I was looking for. So doing these 1x20, it's actually kind of daunting and very intense for that one set, but once it's done, and that's great. Then just do some stiff-legged deadlifts, and I'm doing GHD sit-ups, which I love. I think they are really awesome for hypertrophy training in the midsection. So I'm going to do this pretty much the same program on Monday and Friday. We're adding a little bit of weight to the barbell for the back squats every single session. So it should be about 5 to 10 pounds every single session as it goes up. So it's just going to get increasingly harder. So I'm going to run this for about 6 weeks. That's about as long as I'll run any type of program. And then I'm going to switch into something that's going to be a little bit more strength based. So lowering the reps on that a little bit. And then on Wednesdays, it's going to be more of strongman stuff, kind of and CrossFit stuff, just kind of playing around. So some yoke walks, some tricep stuff, some handstand push-ups, and some ring muscle-ups, just to stay sharp on those type of skills in CrossFit. And then doing the dumbbell. These are going to be heavy farmer's walks with the farmer's walks handle. So that's going to be the main piece of this training with the strength itself. So 3 strength training sessions per week to go with the aerobic work itself. So the aerobic work is going to be about an hour to 2 hours per day. And the focus is going to be around the row. So you can see yesterday I did a 2K row benchmark, which I did in 6:58. It was actually 6:59.8. I'm sorry. So that is about 145s per 500, which I'm happy with. I had no idea what I was going to get out of this. So I was happy to be under 7 minutes, I guess. I don't know. And then I'm going to put a progression together, about 8-week progression to improve my row. And with that, everything else is going to be easy aerobic work. I still have something funny going on with my hip, so my running is going to be super light, super easy. And the rowing is going to be the hard part. I'm going to work in the runs pretty much after I do the bike and row. And the rowing and biking are going to take up a lot of the volume, and the running is going to be a little piece of that, but I want to keep the frequency up a little bit. I'm going to be adding burpees in with a lot of my runs and doing some long aerobic workouts, which honestly are inspired by like the Dylan Scott type of workouts. They're just like long, a bunch of different modalities, and just like doing it. So I did this on Tuesday, which is 2-hour AMRAP for 1,000-meter ski. I actually did those 2K ski, a mile, 2K row, and then this was 7 minutes of sled push and pull. It's something that was like really light, something I could just kind of move around, kind of play with, and then a mile run. So I got through about 3 rounds of that, which is great. Didn't feel like it was 2 hours. It felt like I was switching things up a lot, and it was a really good workout. So this is kind of what that's looking like, and you can see my macros each day. So macros for that big long day was about 4,300. So I'm going to be somewhere between 37 and 4,300 calories per day as I kind of build those things up. So again, I'm only building this about a week or 2 at a time, but this is really going to be the crux of it. Some things that I'm going to add later are going to be some speed drills, some short, fast sprints, and just because that worked really well the past time as I'm working through this 8-week rowing progression, which is going to be the majority of my intensity. So cool. That's really what this is going to look like for the next couple weeks. I hope this helps you. Again, grab that nutrition calculator if that's something that's interesting to you, and you can kind of play around with that with your own numbers. And I'll make sure to give updates on how things are coming along, and if this is working, if I'm getting bigger, if I'm getting more jacked, and if I'm staying fit. Cool. So if you like this video, hit me with a like, hit me with a subscribe so you can get all the latest when it comes to content around training for hybrid racing, OCR, and running, and all the latest athlete interviews. Cool. So I'll talk to you soon.